Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at the Space 1999 Eagle Transporter 3 mod, which is being made by forum user Major Tom 69. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is all the parts necessary to build that iconic Eagle Transporter number 3 ship from the 70s TV series Space 1999, and I cannot tell you guys how excited I am to have this ship in this game. In fact, I'm gonna get a bit sentimental on you guys for a moment, as when I was a really little kid, it was Space 1999 and Star Trek that I was introduced to at roughly the same time that of course got me into my nerdy love of sci-fi in space. And especially in regards to the ships. Though, I gotta admit, even though Star Trek ships are awesome with the cool saucer shapes and the cells, it was actually the Eagle that truly got me hooked on not just space, but space travel. Because even as a kid, I looked at the Eagle and it seemed like a ship that could potentially be possible in my lifetime. Star Trek is awesome, but it's a flight of fancy in the deep future, whereas Space 1999 and the Eagle seem like something that could happen if we really put our minds to it in a couple of decades. Wishful thinking, of course, but hey, that's what I thought when I was a kid. And so having this ship in this game now, it means a lot to me, and I really love having it here. So let's jump right on into the spaceplane hangar and take a look at all the parts that do make up this mod. So let's start by grabbing ourselves an Eagle command module and a Mark 1-2 command pod for size comparison's sake. And if we look at it from this side, even though of course the Eagle is quite a bit longer, they're fairly comparable. But the Eagle's kind of a weird squished onion shape, and if we turn it this way, oh, it's much bigger. Much bigger than the Mark 1-2 command pod, and of course also from this angle, with a very different design, but surprisingly less crew. Mark 1-2 will fit in 3 people in there, whereas the Eagle command module will only fit 2. But hey, I mean, it's got a lot of other fun resources that help it, I guess, compensate for that fact. So let's ditch the Mark 1-2 command pod, since we don't really need that anymore, and just dig right into the Eagle command module here. Like I said, crew capacity of 2, minimum of 1 to pilot it, and besides that, we have built-in RCS thrusters, reaction wheel, SAS, the typical crew report, and then a small container for tritium, which is one of the new fuel resources in this ship mod, which the tritium is used for the RCS systems. The RCS thrusters on here will produce 8 thruster power by burning 0.054 tritium per second. And you'll notice, of course, it starts defaulted at 0, but it'll hold a maximum of 70 tritium in there for your use, which is quite nice. Now, also in command modules, which actually, before we keep moving, I'm going to turn off all the squad parts to make my life a little bit easier. There we go. You gotta love janitor's closet. So the next part we have in here in the command modules is the moon buggy, and this little thing, oh my god, it's wonderful. Let's actually pop it like that-ish so we can at least see it there and get a little zoom in. This buggy is not only adorable, but extraordinarily useful. As you can see here, it has a command seat that you can pop a Kerbal into, and it has enough room in the back where you could either put some various cargo or experiments, or even some other small crew seats here to carry more Kerbals around the place. So it's quite nice, has a lot of good detailing. We've got little switches and knobs and lights and just all sorts of wonderful things. And I'm actually going to skip along a little bit here to take a look at the wheels for it too, so we can just get it out of the way. And if we grab one of these moon buggy wheels, you'll see we have 6 attachment points, 3 on each side that you can see there, specifically for these wheels to go to, and they are pretty darn useful. Well, let's pop on there so you can actually see the thing. Very good wheels. They will, you know, they got some good brake torque. 3 kilonewtons per meter, and we'll use a 3.5 electric charge per second to get about 20 meters per second. Overall, very good, nice little wheels. Again, you'll have 6 of them, 3 on each side. Now, you do also notice we have another attachment point on the top of this thing, which again is for either any materials you want to throw on here or another command seat, and there is an attachment point on the bottom, which of course is what we hooked it to the command module with, and this goes somewhere very specific we'll talk about later. Now let's actually head back and start from the top and work our way down a bit, and let's start in... Yes, fuel tanks. Well, no, actually, we're gonna skip along a little bit to... Oh boy, where are they all at? Utility! I'm gonna jump around a little bit just because there's certain parts that fit better in certain ways for me to show off other parts. Now, in utility, we have 2 different sections. The Eagle aft compartment, which of course goes on the aft of the ship, and a service module here, which make up the 2 sort of main bodies after the command module. And so what you're going to want to do is start your ship after the command module with the service module. And this thing is pretty nice. It'll hold 1 crew member inside. It has a data transmitter, some built-in lights, and has a whole load of scientific experiments. Basically all these small little individual experiments like log gravity, etc. you can run through this module, which is quite cool. It also does have a ladder so you can have your Kerbals leaving, which is always handy. Now, after this is attached to your ship, you're going to want to go to structural and have the support frame going over the top. And this has 3 attachment points, as you can see right there, so that we can hook this here, and that builds the main backbone frame of this ship. Which means, well, actually, when we look at any stats on here, you can see that it does have a docking node in the center point, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. Now, that docking node will come in handy back here in the utility tab, but first let's go to the aft compartment, as that's what you're going to put back here. Now, of course, this also does hold some Kerbals. 1, it also has quite a nice array of other things. So it has a built-in nuclear reactor, so you can have plenty of power, and this will use deuterium at a rate of 0.03 per second to produce 5 electric charge per second, and it will also have a nice battery of 1,000 electric charge here, and a crew report for any science, and of course some lovely lights, etc. It's quite a nice little thing. And in between these 2, in that central docking node for the structural frame, you're going to put one of these fellas, either the Eagle passenger module, which will go just right in there like that, and this passenger module will hold up to 8 freaking Kerbals, and does have a reaction wheel, crew report for, you know, the usual thing, 250 electric charge, 720 liquid fuel, and 880 oxidizer built in, and yeah, it's just a lovely little thing. And if you don't want this though, you can pop in the Eagle Rescue Pod, which instead of holding a crap load of Kerbals, will only hold a maximum of 4. But what's more important for this one is, well, it'll have the same reaction wheel, crew report, electric charge, liquid fuel, and oxidizer as the passenger module. This one's hollow. If we go over to this side and turn on the ramp, there we go. We have an internal area for carrying other bits and bobs of cargo. And you've got actually quite a lot of room in there, but what's really fun is if we go back to command pods, see that node right there in the middle? That's where the moon buggy goes. It will clip in just like that, and then when you do land this thing on whatever celestial body you land on, you just simply right-click and detach the node and drive down the ramp onto the surface of the planet. It is wonderful. So you have a great place for a little buggy, plus still a load of extra room in the interior here for other stuff, and that is extraordinarily useful, and it still will hold a couple of Kerbals. Alright, now that we have all that out of the way, we can kind of go back up to the top section where fuel tanks are and start talking about these things. Now we have two bits in here, and these are the side pods. Now we have one which is the side pod A and the side pod B, and these are basically meant to go on either the left or right hand sides. They are identical pods, and they'll go on these attachment points over here, and of course the right hand ones you put on the front and back, and the left hand ones again you'll put on the front and back over on this side. So you have a lovely big fuel tanks, but that's not all they are. Now both of these, whether left or right, again have built-in RCS thrusters, these one with 12 thruster power. They hold also 1,000 deuterium, 1,080 liquid fuel, 1,320 oxidizer, and 70 tritium in each of these pods. So that is quite a bit of fuel for you to use however you need it to be, which is pretty wonderful. Now the next thing we have, of course, is in engines, where we've got a couple of things here, well, two to be specific. The first is the Eagle main engine, which of course goes on the back here, and isn't it gigantic and beautiful. And the main engine has a beautiful alternator in there producing 5 electric charge, but will produce a maximum of 1,100 kilonewtons in vacuum, 254 in atmosphere, so not too shabby in the atmosphere, frankly, and will only use 7.237 deuterium per second. So it'll still chug through deuterium pretty quickly, but you've got a pretty decent supply, having 1,000 per pod. So you got 4,000 in total there. It'll last you a while, and with that thrust, oh, you'll get places. And then we have the Eagle GP22 turbojet, which is used as the vertical takeoff and landing engines for this thing. Now each one will also have an alternator, 5 electric charge per second, maximum of 650 kilonewtons in vacuum, will use liquid fuel and oxidizer at a rate of 3.7 liquid fuel and 4.5 oxidizer per second. And these, well, they go all over the place. We've got ones for under, if we actually rotate this thing correctly, there we go, each of the pods on the side, as you can see here, so we have those there. We can also put them in these locations. We have 2 attachment points right here in the front. We also have those same attachment points on the back. And then you'll notice on the crew compartment here in the middle, we also have 4 attachment nodes on these. And you're going to have these same attachment nodes whether you go with this emergency rescue one or the passenger module. That way you'll have a whole lot of vertical landing and takeoff engines. Now, I actually just made a mistake here. I should not have put that particular engine on the pods. The pods are for something else, which we'll get to momentarily. So yes, you'll have all the VTOL engines going down the center column of the ship, 8 in total. Very useful. Command and control, we got nothing. Structural, we already did that. Coupling, this is a fun one. We do have an Eagle manipulator arm, which you can attach to really anywhere you want on this thing, as it radially does attach. And it's just a nice big grappler, which functions similarly to the standard asteroid grappler, but is just a nice thing, so as you're flying through space and you want to pick something up, you can do so. And it does have a handy little light right on the front to illuminate things, and you can arm or disarm it right there. Not a necessity, but it does come in handy on occasion. Always good. Now, in payload, we got nothing. Aerodynamics, nothing. Ground, haha, this is where I was waiting for. And to make up for my mistake of putting one of these VTOL engines on the rocket pods. In fact, the Eagle landing legs are what go on the pods on the side. There we go. So you'll put one on each of these, and these are retractable, though they don't retract all the way. So as you can see there, they only kind of go like halfway up, which is a little bit weird, but you know what? I can deal with it. It's just enough that if you retract it once you land, this thing will pretty much be on the ground. And remember, there's a docking node that's connecting this capsule to our structural support. So once you land, you can drop this thing off, and once you have these legs retracted, it'll, softly land on the ground without much issue, which is always handy to do, so, things don't explode. And then if you want, you can fly back later and pick it up, because remember, it's a docking node, so you just gotta come back later on and grab it again and leave, which is always very nice. So, nothing in these, going back down to science, and we're back to utility, where again we have either one of the 2 modules for you to use for your ship. Wonderful. Now let's actually load up one of these and take it to the runway so you can get a better look at them. And we'll load up I passed them, there we go, the number 3, as it already has a built buggy, etc. It's basically what we were building, but it already has the buggy there. So let's go and launch this to the runway and take a look at all of this in action. Now, I'm not really going to take it off because, well, you all know I'm an awful pilot. We die. So there we go. We have our beautiful stuff here, and actually, I'm going to relaunch because I forgot to fill it with more people. We need more Kerbals so I can more easily get one of them to the buggy. Yeah, that should be more than enough. So let's fly. Okay, so now that we have that, one sad thing for right now, hopefully it does get fixed, is there's no custom internal views. We do have internals, but it's borrowing from existing stuff that's already in the game. So unfortunately, in that regard, I do hope that we get custom ones eventually. That would be quite nice, especially for the crew module of this. That'd be really cool to look around there. So hopefully that'll come in the future. Now, as for all of our things, we've got our lovely lights that come on, which is quite nice. We've got the little lights in there for those modules. All cool. Let's actually lower the gears so we can actually we're still not low enough. Release the thing. So of course, if you did land this baby, you could just decouple this node, drop that, and then we could raise our landing gear again to, increase height and take off. And eventually, one day, we could come back, land, and then if we go back down, it actually should have reset itself, I believe. Nah, we haven't gotten far enough away. You guys know the weirdness with docking ports. Sometimes you gotta leave again before you can reuse it. But yes, there we go. We can pick it up, though, again in the future if you so desire. But for now, what I'm more intrigued by is our people in here. Let's get one of you fellas out. Let's get Harney Kerbin, there we go, get him on EVA, and just take a little walk in here. So again, you could, pack some nice cargo into this place, but more importantly, we can get into this. Oh, wait, no, hold on, gotta get, there we go, board, lovely. And once we're boarded, we just gotta decouple that node, perfect. And now, oh, no, I need to switch over to him, there we go, and now we drive. Oh, I love this thing. It's got the little lights on the front, all the wheels, all the lovely detailing. Again, like I said, you can put these command seat in the back. We got all the nice switches and everything. It is a beautiful, beautiful little buggy. And yeah, then when you're done, you can drive the thing back inside, do whatever you need to do, and it's a happy, happy day. But that is that ship, of course. Now, we got another one over here, which we are going to try and take off because it has less things to screw up, mainly. Oh, no central section weighing it down. So it'll only have the 4 VTOL engines and the main back ones. Let's have a little fun with this thing. So this is, of course, one of the ways you could fly this into space, so then you'd have to actually make it to a planet to, say, perhaps pick up one of the modules that you left behind, and there we go. A lovely, lovely ship, which, if we did get close to, we could get out one of these people. Yes, let's get you on EVA. We should probably actually extend the ladder. Oh, he's backing up. I forgot to turn on the brakes. Okay. Back to the lander. The lander. There we are. The rover, rather. Perfect. And now go to her. There we are. We've lowered the ladder so she can now get down and go over there to get inside the buggy and watch the ship take off. So it's just, some of the fun things you can do with all of this wonderful stuff. There we go, they're in there. And now, because I don't know why I felt like getting one of them out, but I did, we can take off. We're going to explode, I think, but oh well. Oh god, I forgot the main engine's on. Yeah, we're gonna explode. You able to shut down that engine because it's making me flip? Oh yeah, we flipped. We have flipped. We're going to die now, aren't we? Yes. Yes, we are. Well, I kind of figured that was happening. So, oh well. I have another ship ready to go. And this one is a bit more interesting because it's in space. So let's go to the tracking station and those guys can recover. And we can go to the Eagle 2 that I actually have around the moon here, just to show off this thing in space, and of course to show it in its natural habitat, because of course space 1999 did happen, you know, on the moon. Good times indeed. And this one, of course, we do have the grappler here, so we can control the arm, turn that on, always good, so we could fly by, grab a piece of space debris or something. Always nice to have that ability if you so desire. And we of course have a crap load of Kerbals inside this particular one, the 8 in total, so overall this one should have about 12 Kerbals inside, though instead of landing on the surface, we're going to, I don't know, just start up the engines, frankly, because we're in space. There we are, the beautiful main engines just going and doing their thing and having a wonderful time on the moon, or well, outside the moon. And isn't it just glorious? I really, really do love having the Eagle transporter here in the game now, and I'm going to have a load of fun messing around with this. Now, this is still a pretty early development mod, and there are more things to come, hopefully. That's why I'm really hoping that we get internals at some point. That would be cool. Some other suggestions I think might be fun are other additional modules that we could drop on planets. It would be very interesting. Maybe even get them compatible with colonization and MKS and things like that. That'd be cool. You could drop whole colonies with one of these things. It'd be fun. But yeah, that really is it though for this episode. I hope you all have enjoyed it, and if you do want to check out this beautiful piece of technology, you can take a look at the link in the description as usual. And yeah, hopefully you will come back for the next episode when we look at yet another wonderful mod. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one. I'll activate the other engines for no apparent reason whatsoever. And I've screwed myself. Yep, these Kerbals are in trouble. Later, folks.